this unboxing is 4 picture books. And they are from Astra. Let's see, Astra books for young readers. And they look like they're all picture book biographies, which are some of my favorite books to read. The first one is called The Flying Man, Otto Lilienthal, The World's First Pilot, by Mike Downs, illustrated by David Hohn. Oh, I didn't even know they knew who the first pilot was. Is this the, because I actually thought there was someone in China who figured out how to fly over the Great Wall. But okay, but here's another story. In 1862, balloons were the only way to reach the sky. But Otto Lilienthal wanted to soar like a bird, so he made his own wings and spent 30 years of his life building gliders. And this is how he became the world's first pilot. So, where is he located? Sounds like he might be in Europe. Here he is, inspired by a crane. It reminds me of Icarus, doesn't it? And here he is, just drawing all kinds of ideas, iterating. Again, a stork, inspired by a stork. And it kind of does look like a stork, doesn't it? So he is in Reno Hills. I'm not sure what country this is. Does it say which country? Germany. Germany. And he eventually soars as the Flying Man. And then here in the endnotes, you can kind of see all his schematics. And he was the inspiration for the Wright brothers. Very cool. The next one is about Make Way for Ducklings, the story behind the story. And that's in my town, in Boston. And Robert McCloskey is just a really beloved author. Some of my favorite books growing up as a child. And this is Mr. McCloskey's Marvelous Mallards, The Making of Make Way for Ducklings, which was based on a newspaper article, I believe. A true happening that happened in Boston. And this is by Emma Bland Smith, illustrated by Becca Stadtlander. And even now, if you come to Boston and you drive around near Boston College, where there's a reservoir, there are a lot of geese. And they're always crossing the very busy two-way street. And you know, you rarely see any of the birds get hit because they just hold up traffic. And in my neck of the woods in Newton, we have wild turkeys, very, very large wild turkeys that also will take their time crossing the street. And so when Robert McCloskey saw the ducks in Boston's public garden, he knew he wanted to write about them. And he was inspired by getting ducks in his house, which is why they're so like incredibly you know, full of personality and look very lifelike in their like, you know, kind of the way they're positioned. That's so cool. I didn't know he actually had ducks in his New York City studio. I didn't actually realize he lived in New York City. I actually thought he was in Boston. So yes, oh, he went to art school in Boston. I wonder which one. Apparently my old office building on Boylston Street, it used to be an art school. This, you know, brick building at Boylston and Exeter. I wonder if that was a school. That would be pretty amazing. So here he is. And you know what? It's really inspiring to know that he also had trouble drawing ducks. And these are a lot of his sketches. you know, because they move around really fast, and I guess it's hard to capture their emotion. But, you know, he's an incredible illustrator, so that actually, you know, makes me feel like, wow, you know, everyone struggles. I also went to this exhibit for The Little House, which is an author and illustrator that grew up in, that, you know, lived in Newton. And I saw her, no, his, it's actually, it's a, oh, his name's escaping me, I'll put it in the down box, but I saw the sketches for those too, and it really felt like, wow, you know, like very much like sketches on an envelope that seemed like anyone could do it. And so here are the ducks taking over his apartment studio, and they grow up. He lets them, I think he lets them free. I don't know if he frees them. But this is how the story came to be. And look at those ducks, how it improved from his first sketches to the final artwork. All right, incredible, love it. The next one is Cloaked in Courage, uncovering Deborah Sampson, Patriot Soldier, by Beth Anderson, illustrated by Lambelet. Looks like a revolutionary story of women who probably were not ever in the spotlight, but also did contribute quite a bit. So she enlists in George Washington's Continental Army with a false identity, Robert Shirtliff, and she proves herself in battle. So here she is. You know what? The women back then, they did everything. And it's no wonder that they also could be soldiers. Because look at her, you know, working on her farm. That's not an easy job. She made the requirements for height. She enlisted as Tommy Thayer. I really like these illustrations too. They really have like a palette of like, that reminds me of sort of a long ago time, but the way they're drawn also feels, you know, modern and fun and, you know, engaging. So it has kind of the best of both worlds, where you feel like, okay, this is definitely not in the present, but the expressions and the faces are so, you know, almost cartoon-like, that it makes you feel like, oh, this is a story that's still like appealing and relevant to me. And so anyway, she goes to West Point, and wow, she's a soldier, incredible. Okay, this last one is called Road Trip, camping with the 4 vagabonds, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Harvey Firestone, and John Burroughs, by Claudia Friddell, illustrated by Jeremy Holmes. So Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, everyone's probably has associations with their inventions. And Harvey Firestone, no doubt, is related to the tires. But John Burroughs, I don't know him, but I'm sure it's related to sort of this revolution of the Model T and how cars came to be and came to dominate the American landscape. Wow, the illustration style is really interesting. It's very playful. And so, let's see, do we know who John Burroughs is? He's a nature guide and journal writer. Well, I'm not sure how, maybe he was the one that had to teach them how to go camping or where the good places were. So they all go camping, and they're not kids, no, they're kings of industry and inventors. And this is a road trip. What is the road trip about? Oh, they take this is for a vacation to enjoy America's back roads and a few inventions. But it's not that quiet because at this point they're very famous. I thought maybe they weren't famous yet and they were coming together, but no, they're very famous. And so this is sort of big news, and wherever they go, they get a wide audience of people who want to meet them, including reporters. Wow, that's like kind of incredible. I mean, like, imagine the titans of industry all hanging out on a road trip. I mean, that could happen, right? I mean, isn't that like titans of industry flying themselves to the moon? I mean, like, that's happening. Maybe that's the modern version of this. But anyway, this looks really fun. Wow, they have great photos. And I wonder if that changed them. I wonder if that made them want to preserve natural spaces now that the cars were taking over. But anyway, thank you so much to Astra Books for young readers for these 4 books. I hope you guys enjoy these books, and thank you so much for watching.